The Bureau at this meeting this morning agreed to recommend holding this current affairs debate and proposed that Mr. Iulian Bulai, chairperson of the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats in Europe from Romania, will open this debate. I propose to limit the debate to 1 hour and to start, I think, now. Is that?
Yes.
Madam Secretary General, are there any objections to do it like this? I do not see. Then I invite chairperson of the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats in Europe to come forward and deliver the introductory speech. Iulian, you have the floor.
Dear President, dear Secretary General of the Parliamentary Assembly, dear Petra Stinen, dear Speaker, I'm so happy to see you amongst us still. Dear colleagues, thank you so much for welcoming us in the beautiful city of The Hague. It's fantastic to be here. 1 year has passed since the Russian Federation launched an all-out invasion of Ukraine, a neighboring, sovereign, independent country, another member state of the Council of Europe. The war waged by the Russian Federation is a barbaric aggression which continues to provoke suffering, devastation, trauma, and displacement. Its effects are so bitterly felt outside Ukraine. Global food security, energy, nuclear safety, the environment, adverse consequences on the functioning of the multilateral system. Ukrainians have put up a strenuous resistance. We pay tribute to their resilience, their courage, and their sacrifice. By defending their sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity, Ukrainians are defending the basic principles of international law. I am proud and saddened to have been in Kiev on the 24th of February this year to commemorate the start of the atrocities, to reiterate my group's support, and I believe this whole Assembly's support to the Ukraine and to our Ukrainian peace delegation, and to remember the victims. I propose to raise for a moment of silence for the sake of the children and the women and the men of Ukraine who died in this terrible war. Thank you. Ukraine has been the main focus of our agenda this year and will remain so as long as this aggressive war continues. But I would like to focus today's introduction on the Council of Europe's role. What have we done and what have we not done or could have done better? This year, beyond the war and its atrocities on the ground, we have seen in the Council of Europe's struggle an international organization that was created for everlasting peace and ever closer union, having to adapt to a situation of war. We came a long way since the 24th of February 2022 from an organization not equipped to deal with this level of aggression and war between member states to an organization that is realizing the role it should and could be playing. We clearly can do more on accountability and justice in order to have peace on our continent. So this is what we have done. We have excluded the aggressor from this organization. We unanimously stood by the victims. We were present on the ground and have prepared numerous reports on several issues: rule of law, human rights, accountability, defense of women and children, culture, environment, and we continue our work in order to build an effective accountability system. The main focuses of our action can be stressed as follows. First, assistance to Ukraine. The Committee of Ministers has adopted a record 50 million action plan for Ukraine for 2023 till 2026. This already allowed to establish as many as 18 country-specific projects, going from supporting the implementation of the European Court of Human Rights judgments, media freedom, and the process of collecting, documenting, and investigating gross human rights violations in the war context. Germany, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Poland, Portugal, Sweden, Switzerland, and the EU and the Human Rights Trust Fund have secured 6.5 million euros for funding. Thank you for that, and I call on the other states and stakeholders to contribute. The second focus, bringing Ukraine closer to EU standards in view of the accession process. The Partnership for Good Governance is another joint initiative for strengthening good governance in the Eastern Partnership region. Third, accountability. Perhaps the key area for Council of Europe's involvement and the most challenging one. Here, PACE has demonstrated that it is the engine of this organization and is ready to push for clear results. Exclusion of the aggressor country from the organization. A series of very well documented reports and concrete proposals on the system of accountability. Let me just call our last report on the legal and human rights aspects of the Russian Federation's aggression against Ukraine, adopted on the 26th of January, and the rapporteur for this report is my dear colleague Damien Cotier. The resolution made 3 groups of proposals on the system of accountability of the Russian Federation regarding first, the crime of aggression, second, war crimes, crimes against humanity and possible genocide, third, compensation for all the damage caused by the aggression and the violations of international law stemming from the aggression. I salute the work done by our Secretary General of the Council of Europe on very interesting study on accountability for human rights violations and role of the international community, including the Council of Europe. A very comprehensive study showing how the Council of Europe could be relevant in the establishment of the accountability system. We also welcome the Secretary General's proposal to establish a register to record and document evidence and claims of damage, loss, or injury resulting from the Russian aggression against Ukraine. Of course, other parts of the Council of Europe have also done a great deal. The Council of Europe Bank is already working in the neighborhood region and is ready to become even more active after the ratification of the accession by Ukraine. Human Rights Commissioner, important work including on the forced displacement of Ukrainian children, something that was in depth discussed with the Ukrainian Nobel Peace Prize winner Alexandra Matvichuk and other stakeholders. We will keep the push from PACE 2. And also the contribution of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities with initiatives cities to cities. This being said, we can and we must do more. We must have clear goals and act on them. In the Council of Europe, many decisions are in the hands of the Committee of Ministers. We're looking forward to these decisions. We hope to move further on the ad hoc tribunal. There should be a place for this idea in the upcoming Reykjavik summit final communication. Finally, paraphrasing Minister Franks Vermin, who spoke earlier today, who could be critical to each other? We could be critical to each other, but it's even better to be critical to ourselves. PACE can do more, and the Council of Europe can do more to help Ukraine and to give us all, again, as did our founding fathers, a vision of a united and a peaceful Europe ready to confront the new challenges. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Iulian, for your introductory remarks. And you stayed exactly within the 7 minutes that were given to you. Now I open the floor for the debate. and those who want to intervene have 3 minutes each. First speaker will be Mr. Frank Schwab on behalf of the group of the Socialist Democrats and Greens. Frank, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Julian, for your introduction. Yes, we have 1 year and a little after the starting of this full-fledged war from Russia towards Ukraine, and it's so stupid to see all these damages and all these people suffering from this earthquake still now in this moment, and there are other parts of Europe where others bomb people into the same situation. It's such a stupid situation in Europe and in this world. So I had several events for sure in Germany, but in my constituency as well, and I sent a video to Maria, to Maria Metzentseva, about a small boy coming to me after such an event. I don't really know, Artem, it's difficult today to say it, from Kharkiv, maybe you know him, and I spoke there and I said we will do everything to support Ukraine to stay a free and independent country, and he really came to me and asked me if I can assure this to him, and I said to him, for sure I cannot say what will happen. This is wrong to promise things I cannot promise, but I can say we will do everything to support Ukraine and to do so, and let's keep in contact about this, and let's see what we can do together and how we can take the next steps together and how we can explain what's going on. And this, I think, it's a promise I can give personally, I can give as a chair of my group, and I think we can give it as an organization to make very sure that what we want to have is first to have a free and independent country, Ukraine. Second, that we make sure that we support Ukraine, and we discuss it a lot. But now I think we find a way to do so, to defend the country with supporting weapons on a very short or on a very thin line. This is what we should always know. We support Ukraine with humanitarian aid, and this is up for our organization to do everything to take those ones accountable who commit this war crimes and this this crime of aggression, to collect evidence, to organize the tribunal in the best way, and to do everything already now to prepare to rebuild the country. And we should go together the pathway to a full European integration. That's what we can do, that's where we are working on. That should be one of the most important signs from Reykjavik. So that's what I promised to Artem, that we really stand together with Ukraine for a free Ukraine, but at the end for a free Europe and a free world.
Thank you, Frank. Next in the debate, I give the floor to Alexander Poitche, who is coming over here. You are going to take the rostrum.
Yes, thank you very much, Tini. I would like to start to say thank you to Mr. Bruin, because we are so glad that we are here, and you are very right to say that you can be proud of your delegation and of Tini. Tini made a huge job and is representing really very well your country. You mentioned the member of my group, Ria Omen. You can't imagine how sorry we feel that he's not going to come back. Mostly because I spent something like 2 or 3 years with Ria arguing that Russia is a bad guy. And I'm very happy that finally she she took also the position that Russia is really wrong guy. You did not mention somebody who was the first speaking about accountability of Russia, Peter Omzik, who is really very bright guy who brought that problem not only in Netherlands, in our assembly, but everybody understood what happened to the flight, Dutch flight. And that was extremely important. And that was the first sign that those people are dangerous. And I'm very glad to have Peter Omzik among our group. The most important, and our colleague Iulian Bulai tackled to this, is this tribunal.